Hi, my name's Clive Kelman. I was the first principal AI technologist for the UK government, been in AI and technology for 25 years. And I'm just going to talk you through a few of the top AI implementations for businesses. Uh, and going to cover what they are, what kind of things they do, um, and then go through the costs and the benefits of those. As you can see here, this is just 8 of them. There are loads of AI implementations out there, and the benefits to the economy are in the trillions, and the benefits to your business might well be in the millions. So have a look, see which ones might work for you, and perhaps let's have a conversation about that. So I'm going to take you through the costs, the benefits, and when you might expect to see a return on that investment. um, uh, for those top 8 implementations. So let's jump on in. So starting with RAG services, you might have heard of RAG. It stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Essentially, it helps you manage the information in your business. It surfaces all the knowledge you have and makes it available. Most organizations have a poor data maturity. This can really help surface the information that you need to make the decisions you need to at all different points of your business. So it's basically a way to get access to the information your business holds. There's all kinds of implementations for that where you need information that's relevant to a business process. AI can do that with RAG. So costs vary. They vary across all these um, implementations. And here's an enterprise cost breakdown structure here. So it can cost, from tens of thousands if you're doing a small piece in a small business. But typically, you need to start managing your information of substantial piece. But the returns on investment can be high. As you can see here, 2 to 5 times according to Amazon and 2 to 6 times according to Boston Consulting Group. So the benefits are definitely there. And it's one of the more used implementation of generative AI, and every business can benefit from this. So moving on to one of the ones that you've probably experienced already, the customer chatbots out there, being on the other end of a service to the customer. So that can be either a verbal one, so you're talking with an audio to a chatbot, or it's typed. And so it's text based. Um, but what it does is it provides those contact points for customers, and the benefits are that actually customer experiences can be improved if you do it right. And why wouldn't you do it right? Actually, your customer experience is improved. Their resolution times decrease, and their value um, to your business increases because they're more satisfied. They get access to the information at the right time. So here are some estimated costs of putting that chatbot in place. Now, how complex the queries the chatbot needs to answer is really the cost determining here, because you could just get an off-the-shelf service and just give it some simple responses. But if you want it to understand your business, then you're talking about a RAG implementation of that. So that's at the back end as well, and the costs will be much higher. I mean, you need to be looking at those RAG type costs. But for a basic chatbot, you can start simple if it's just rules based. So, what are the returns on investment like? Well, Gartner are very optimistic on this, typically 3 to 10 times the cost within 12 months. And that's extraordinarily high. So, again, it will depend on your implementation. But doing a customer support chatbot of some kind is a go to place to go, and any business can do that. So focusing on marketing for a moment here, and generative AI is built for content creation. That's really its primary purpose. It's multimodal, so any form of media, visual, including moving, text, audio, and to interoperate between those modes. So it can translate between, and so you can give it a text-based query and give you a video response, for example. So that really helps with marketing, not only on the segmentation and identifying your market, but actually the content creation. It becomes very targeted. You can take all that information you've got about your customers and really target that media at them. So it really hits their want points. Costs vary, but there are enterprise stacks out there. So these are very much off the shelf applications for content creation for media now. And you might want to integrate with your CRM system or whatever, and there are additional costs in there. But really, this is quite a standard product, and really annual license costs are really what you're looking at. So the ROI, well, according to McKinsey, 10 to 8 times, and according to Jasper, um, it's about actually creating new customer pipelines as well, generating new sales opportunities. That's what it allows you to do is scale, really, identify new opportunities and scale. So that's content generation, particularly aimed for marketing. So moving on to what all us techies are doing, code generation or code assistance. There's an awful lot of that going on out there now. A lot of new IT products are being created by AI, becoming um, much more dominant in creating technology itself. And some of the benefits include up to 50% improvement in productivity. I think typically you're seeing 40% out there, and people will stand behind. But the costs here are really for the application licenses themselves. Here you got a cost for 25 developers, so medium-sized team. And when you might see an ROI for that, well, you're seeing it 7 times return on investment. So you get very high performance improvements. So you can start developing a lot more product a lot more quickly. Um, and yeah, as you can see down there, satisfied with 45% productivity improvements. It's typically that 40% mark, I think, that we can be sure of. 50% maybe, but here's a definitely go-to if you're a tech company. Here's one for financial customers out there. Fraud detection and risk prevention, so identifying those risks, intervening. 75% saw a 10 to 20% reduction in fraud cases, according to CAP. So this is a real world, introducing it to existing business processes, um, and moving to real time as well. As Texas points out, to 94% of fraudulent transactions being identified in real time. So we can move this much more into the streamed analysis rather than batch processing. This is more intelligent, it's more real time, and the costs, of course, are specific to the business and the business process you're implementing. A lot of these costs will include the business process. So this isn't just a technology product and service, it's a transformation of that business function. So that needs to be costed in there. The ROI, well, they can be massive, of course. I mean, according to um, one case, £100 million a year saved. Um, and according to Juniper Research, it can save 31 billion a year for the global banking industry. So I think every tech company is using some kind of AI, and the ROIs are specific to that implementation. But one for every finance organization, really. Here's one that I've worked in quite a bit myself: diagnostics in healthcare. It's been around for a long time, and we're starting to implement it now in the cancers and X-ray and different visual analysis. But it can offer very high improvements to diagnosis, far outstripping clinicians, and it's starting to be adopted across healthcare services. So, so that means real world um, benefits, really, even in um, implementing it into the core tech systems of hospitals, improving discharge rates in hospitals. You get a better throughput, you get better care. you get better identity of the actual condition and therefore the better treatment for that condition, which streamlines the whole process. Um, and 74% of healthcare executives using AI have seen an ROI in at least one use case. So it's becoming a real world thing. I've certainly been using it for years, and it's very impressive. Costs are, of course, very specific to the implementation. You need the data to create these AI systems, but if you're using an off-the-shelf system that's already been trained, it's a matter of integrating that into your business process, your clinical pathways, uh, 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 and your patient care. So it needs to work in that system. So there's a lot of onboarding costs involved in that, but the benefits are extreme. And the ROI, well, of course, that's specific to the health situation that you're in. But here's one ROI of 451% over a 5-year period. Because healthcare tends to happen over longer periods to implement change. There's a complex business process that needs to be transformed. And so it's typically a multi-year investment as the costs are quite high as well. But the ROIs are definitely there. So here's one you've probably already, well, you will definitely be experiencing already, is the use of AI in targeting, advertising, and marketing. Uh, and if you're not already using this now, uh, it's quite remarkable. Um, it's a huge part of our lives. For example, Netflix. Every recommendation you're getting from Netflix is AI generated, and the benefits to them are at least £1 billion per year, just in preventing customers leaving by targeting what they want and preventing them from leaving. And McKinsey identify that the acquisition um, improvement are 50% um, by targeting better identity of potential customers. So the costs are hugely different. Obviously, Netflix, Amazon, you're talking the hundreds of millions to billions of pounds of implementation, but it is the core business. Um, uh, and you could be looking at much smaller costs for a small or medium-sized enterprise. Um, well, the ROI, well, again, like a lot of these implementations, it is down to the actual implementation, the use case you're doing. But it's a third of Amazon's business, apparently. So that equates to billions of pounds. So the ROI of 35% of their total revenue. So you're likely to be within year ROI for Amazon. And for smaller sized businesses, it depends on your implementation. So do the math, but the odds are you're already using it. Here's one for manufacturing and industry, AI for asset management. It's been around for a long time, uh, putting compute at the edge of IoT and doing prescriptive or preventative asset management out there. So you look for fail signals from your assets and you intervene before you need to. It's a very cost effective way. So the benefits are, you reduce your downtime by this example by IoT World by 50%. Again, it's down to what business you're in, but this is definitely the cutting edge of optimizing your asset management. Costs vary on implementation. You might be a massive industrial complex, or you might be a small business, in which case those costs will scale as relevant. Um, and the ROI is typically within 1 to 2 years. I think you should be looking at an ROI of all of these within 3 years on any implementation really of AI if it's done adequately. Um, and see down here, 10 to 30% achieve that ROI within the first year. So these tend to be much bigger asset management. So you're typically talking millions of pounds worth of assets. So the investment is across the lifespan of that asset, which might be decades. So improving the costs of maintaining that asset can be worth millions to an organization. So those are the top 8 use cases I picked out, but there are many other use cases out there and loads of sites to look at. So go and have a look at some of these. And if you want to talk more about actually making this happen, then let's talk. Happy to talk about any of these and making it real for you with ROI positive implementations for your business.